Okay, let's do a retake. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening call where we introduce a very special company, LifeWave, and the star of our show, X39. We have a special guest this evening, Dr. Barbara Jennings, and we start out with a wonderful presentation from Gregory to give a little history about the company and our technology, and we're going to talk about the star of the show, X39. So over to you, Gregory.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll go ahead. I'm going to stop my video and start screen share. So please hold on just a moment here. And here we go. Okay, well, welcome to our X39 Activate Your Stem Cells presentation. And before we jump into a little bit of background about the science and the company and the founder and such, I want to share with you a realization I came to not too long ago. I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger. And I'm excited to tell you we found a way to do that. So welcome to the stem cell revolution. Everyone wants to look, feel, perform, and live younger, and stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that repairs and regenerates damaged cells in all of our organs, glands, bones, muscles, skin, everywhere. So the problem is the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remain. And sadly, the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. Now, what about stem cell injections? They're expensive, they're painful, they're risky, they're controversial, and there's no guaranteed results. Well, we've got good news for you here today. And you can look, feel, perform, and live younger with a historic breakthrough in stem cell technology. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's non-drug. It's a patented form of phototherapy, and it uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our stem cell activity. This wonderful product is the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt. And David's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, he's a genius inventor with over 100 patents and patent pendings, and he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. He's already conducted over 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of our LifeWave phototherapy technologies, and many more clinical studies are always in the works. So LifeWave is a 17-year-old advanced technology company. It was founded back in 2004 based on an energy-enhancing technology David developed for Navy SEALs on a government contract to increase their strength, their stamina, performance without the need for drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. It's so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. And I'm happy to say we have corporate headquarters, laboratory, and manufacturing in California, Utah, and Ireland, and global distribution to over 75 countries from our 14 global distribution centers. And the word is out. As I said, it's so effective, it's now used by pro and amateur athletes all around the world in almost every sport, and the media has certainly noticed it. So how does this amazing technology work? Let me give you a short scientific overview here. It's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals. And when they're applied or near our body, they're activated by our body heat, and then they begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate very targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in our body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it is the basis of LifeWave phototherapy patches. Now, it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause very specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a very specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. We're not getting a vitamin D download from the sun, but without the sun, our body does not manufacture vitamin D. And another frequency of light, UV, causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on this same rock-solid, well-recognized scientific principle. Now, for the last 12 years, our focus has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science. And I'm happy to say in January of 2019, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch. This truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell technology. And some are calling it the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science. And we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not yet been able to do. And X39 actually activates a very specific copper peptide that activates our stem cells, while at the same time, it also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. So X39 certainly is a game changer. And our founder and inventor, David Schmidt, says it's his greatest accomplishment yet. So yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies. Yes, we have field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting news. So that's my brief overview for us here tonight, Robin. So I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Gregory. That's such a wonderful summary and an introduction to, like I said, a very special company that many of us have grown to love because what it does for us and our loved ones. And for those of you that are brand new, we have a special treat for you tonight to introduce you to our doctor in rotation this evening, Dr. Barbara Jennings, and she comes to us from Fort Collins, Colorado. She is a chiropractor. She's a functional medicine chiropractor, and she has a specialty in loves helping people reverse, she recovered from a severe life-threatening autoimmune condition, and now she likes to help other people who are struggling with that. She also teaches NIA, which is a really cool fusion of dance, martial arts, yoga, and mind-body fitness. And she has been with LifeWave almost 2 years, incorporating it in her practice and in her personal life. So welcome, Dr. Barbara. We get to see you soon.
Hi there.
Hi. It's going to be fun to be together like next weekend, huh?
Oh, no. I know. It's coming up fast.
Soon. Very soon.
Yeah, very soon. 2 weeks.
So Dr. Barbara's going to be at our event in Fort Collins on August 5th, right?
Yeah, 5th and 7th, I believe.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, right?
Yeah. And then in Denver, you're coming to Denver?
I am.
So for those of you that want to meet her in person, be wonderful, and send your friends to our Colorado meeting. So good evening, and I love having you here. It's so wonderful to have a practitioner that loves the products for themselves and is incorporated in their practice. What is it, Dr. Barbara, that had you be so interested to include these products into your practice?
Well, what initially interested me was the word stem cells. When Michelle told me about the patches that activate stem cell production, I had been doing some research and looking into the possibility of integrating that in my practice. And so that's what initially got my my interest. I decided to give it a try. I wasn't in pain. Didn't have a bad knee, things. These are the things that usually, most people, when they start looking into stem cells, they have a good reason, and it's usually pain. So I didn't know if I would experience anything or not. But I was very pleasantly surprised that after only 5 days, I had noticeable changes, noticeable benefits. The first 2 I felt were more energy and better sleep.
And who doesn't want both of those?
Exactly.
And bottom line, what's happened is you've integrated it into your practice. If you were to give like a bottom line, what's the gift of it to share with your patients?
Oh, well, how much time have you got?
I could share what Dr. Nicholas says, and he says it really simply. It enhances the clinical outcome. It makes you look good, doesn't it, as a doctor?
Yeah. Well, I would add one thing to that. So number one, especially for other practitioners, definitely that is true. It helps us achieve better outcomes and faster. Number two for me, and I think other doctors would agree with this, is that these patches can do things that I can't. They can do things that a medical doctor can't. They can do things that, you know, no prescription drug can do, no surgery can do, no adjustment can do. So there's just a very high degree of value packed into these little patches.
So it extends your tool chest.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, what got you interested was the word stem cells, and that's what gets a lot of people interested these days, because it certainly is the buzz. It's the future of medicine. And I know some people hear it, but they don't really know what they are. Why are stem cells important, and what happens when we age to our stem cells?
Well, let's take the second question first. What happens when we age? Like all good things in our body, they decline. And the sheer number of stem cells is highest at birth, and it's only downhill from there. So like Gregory said at the beginning, by age 60, we've got approximately 10% left. And by age 70, it's believed that we don't make any anymore, right? So our production, our ability to make stem cells to regenerate our body is just about done at age 70. But a lot of people have a lot of life yet to live after age 70. And it's unfortunate that we just heal slower when you don't have stem cells. So what are they? A stem cell is the first version. It's like a baby cell that hasn't been assigned what part of the body it's going to become yet, which means it can become almost anything. There's different types of stem cells. The most desirable kind is actually the kind we get, or our bodies make, with these activation patches. It's called pluripotent stem cells. They're higher up in the higher upstream, and so they have the greatest ability to become almost any tissue or any part of your body. So great potential to repair and regenerate as much of your body as possible.
Which is very exciting for us baby boomers, which there's a lot of baby boomers on the call, I can see. It's wonderful to add more years and feel better and better and better. And so Gregory was talking about this particular product called X39, which is the star of the show right now. And could you explain some of the benefits that people might experience from this product? And by the way, it looks like that. It just looks like a little round Band-Aid.
Yep.
And you stick it on your body, but nothing goes in your body. So what can people look forward to as benefits from the X39?
Well, the most common benefits I hear, if a person has pain, most people feel a reduction in pain. Some people really quickly, within hours, some days, some weeks, some actually take a couple of months. But reduced pain is a big one. Probably the second, maybe the most common one, is more energy. Starting to feel younger, like, feel like myself, feel like I did 10, 20 years ago. A lot of people report having better sleep. A lot of people report their hair is growing thicker, faster, growing back. So that's very exciting. If people have been injured, the recovery is all around better. It's usually faster. It's better. Sometimes people don't need all of the physical therapy that might normally be required. So those are the most common ones that I hear. Those are the top three, I would say.
Yeah, fabulous. And you said something I think really, really important. Some people can notice it like that. And for other people, it could take days, weeks, or even months. but is it still working even though they don't notice?
It is, because everybody responds to light. And so I make sure when I'm sharing these with people to let them know, you may, you'll probably feel something changing, right? Some benefit in the first week to 2 weeks. If you don't worry. Don't assume it's not working, because it is. What we know is the patches will work, because just like everybody out in the sunlight, things happen in the sun. We make vitamin D. We get a suntan. We get a sunburn. We all respond to light. And since this is light frequency stimulating chemistry in our body, we know it's going to work. What we don't know and we cannot predict is, what is your body going to do first with more copper peptide and with these stem cells? Is it actually going to agree with you that the priority is that knee pain? Or does it have a higher priority it wants to go to work on first?
That's beautiful. And everyone is different. And it's true, we can't tell who's going to be the one that's going to feel it right away, but we do know it's working. And what's beautiful, it's called non-transdermal, which means nothing's going in the body other than a
Right.
frequency of light. So to get maximum benefit from using the product, what do you recommend to people?
So two things. To get maximum benefit, well, first you have to remember to put it on.
Ah,
Wear it for 12 hours. Take it
amazing.
off for 12 hours, right? A lot of people have great intentions. So, my tip for that is that I'll tell people to keep it next to their toothbrush. And when you brush your teeth, put it on. When you brush your teeth, take it off. So, that way it can actually do something for you. Second thing is, it's important that your body is well hydrated, because the patches need conductivity and they need circulation. When you've made this copper peptide and when you've made more stem cells, they need to be circulated, right? You need your lymphatic system to be working, and you need your blood flow, your blood circulation to be well hydrated, to transport these things where they want to be. And the third one is that you need to have enough copper in your diet, because it all depends first on this copper peptide being made. Because when that increases, that is what in turn triggers the stem cell production. So we've got to have the copper peptide first. There are foods that are high in copper, like oysters and asparagus and crab. So it's easy to Google those things. So eat foods high in copper. If you hate all of them, you can find copper in a supplement that makes sure the copper is not alone, just copper. You want copper to be part of a larger molecule, to be one that's safe to supplement, like copper bisglycinate and copper chelate, things like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is there anyone who shouldn't be wearing this patch?
Yeah, there's two circumstances where these are not recommended. The first one is for people who have had an organ transplant and are on an immunosuppressive drug. And the reason for that is more copper peptide, more stem cells are going to actually support your immune system to work better. So if you've got to suppress that immune system, then with an organ transplant, these aren't for you. The second is during chemotherapy treatments. You can use it before and after, but it's not recommended during.
That's easy. So it's safe for just about everybody.
Yep. If that's not you, then these are probably going to help you.
Great. So when you're introducing this product to people, what do you say to them?
Depends on the person, but I have a lot to say about them. I explain photobiomodulation. I explain how light works, and that how light, and especially the sunlight, affects them. And most people have a little aha moment, like, oh yeah, sunlight does cause chemistry changes in our bodies. So, okay, I get that. And then I explain, if they don't know what stem cells are and the potential that they have to help them regenerate, repair, heal, slow down the aging process. These two things you get with the X39, that GHK copper peptide combined with stem cells, pack a lot of power in anti-aging.
I love it. I love it. David actually likes to call it regenerative, which is wonderful. So you've mentioned the copper peptide. Gregory mentioned the copper peptide. We invite everyone to do your own research on your favorite search engine of GHK-CU, because the magic behind the patch is that it activates this peptide. One of the things is activating our own younger stem cells and creating more, but it does many, many more things, like Dr. Barber talked about, accelerating healing, enhancing performance, athletic performance, sleeping better, reducing pain, increasing immunity. So lots of wonderful things can happen, but do check it out on your own. So any other final comments before we open up to our guests and see if the participants want to ask any questions of you?
I was just doing some more reading actually on the copper peptide, and was reminded of a couple things that I had read last year and forgotten. And that is that in studies with mice, it's also been shown to have a strong anti-anxiety action within 12 minutes.
Wow.
So pretty quick. Also, the copper peptide is involved in protecting lung tissue from, or helping repair acute lung tissue. So in inflammatory conditions where lungs are damaged, it can be very helpful. So if you think lungs and inflammation, there's several different conditions that you could think of that it could help there.
Great.
So that's pretty exciting.
Okay, so now we get to turn it over to the participants, and I do want to say that we've got a very helpful group because people are answering other people's questions, but which is wonderful. But what I want to do is I want to share a few of those questions because I think they'll be good for everyone. We have someone who's really brand new, and he's asking, let me find his name, Chris. He said, I'm new to all of this. I was wondering, once a patch is activated, when you remove it, does it stop the activation?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, it does. And I love that feature about the patches. They're only activated when they're within about 4 to 6 inches of your body heat, because they're activated by your infrared light. So after about 6 inches, it's dissipated enough that they're not going to be active. However, I would not let them sit in the sun, because the sun is always emitting infrared light. So you don't want to have them sit in a hot mailbox for a long time or a hot car, and you don't want to carry them in your pocket unless they're covered in foil, right? Foil-lined envelopes, purses, tin foil. I've done all of the above.
That's very helpful. And I'm going to ask a question for Victoria, because our friend Victoria, she had a surgical procedure and they put a cast on her. So we'll go through the cast.
Maybe. It depends. So infrared light can penetrate a lot of things. So the thicker it is, probably the less penetration it will have. I know that it's not going to go through like latex very well, but it can go through some materials. And a cast, I don't have any experience using that. When my daughter broke her arm, I tucked it under the edge of her cast so that it was.
Great idea.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. Okay. Deborah's saying, can someone tell me again what the copper should be combined with?
There are a few different ones. I found a supplement I like that has copper bisglycinate. That's BISGLYCINATE, bisglycinate chelate. So something chelate is going to be a safe form of copper for your brain. If you're just getting copper element, it can actually become toxic to your brain, and you don't want that.
Well, that's very helpful. And Mary's asking, if I boil my water for coffee in a copper pot, do you think I might be getting enough copper in my body?
You're getting the wrong kind of copper. So
Okay.
I don't recommend copper pots or copper pipes.
Okay.
I give those away, sell them, I don't know. You use something else because that's elemental copper.
Okay. So a lot of people like to drink their water out of a copper glass. Is that okay?
I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. There we have it. Okay. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat. Or if you have a story to share, please put it in the chat. And remember that we don't talk about disease states. We don't name them, but you can talk symptoms. And someone asked, where in Denver are you going to be? And so I'll answer that one. We're going to be at the Crown Plaza. It's the Airport Hotel Crown Plaza. I think it's I-70 and 170, something, northeast. Is it east? Yeah, northeast Denver.
It's near the airport, right?
Yeah, it's near the airport. So we will be there on Saturday, Friday night and Saturday. We will be there. So it would be wonderful to meet people in person. It's so nice to see people in person. And because I'm not seeing other questions, which is amazing. We usually have a whole bunch. And let's see, what about colloidal copper?
Colloidal copper should be okay. Colloidal means it's bound to something else.
Okay. Okay, good. And so what other things would you like to share with our audience that's important? Oh, someone just put a question in. I have the pointer toe on my right foot that lays on top of the big toe. Is there a possibility that this will help with that?
Yes. I would say there's definitely a possibility. I'd say there's, well, is that because of an injury, or were you born with it that way?
It's Rhea. We'll see what she responds, but I'm going to share a story because many years ago, 20 years before I started using X39, and I used X39. Oh, we forgot to talk about this. We recommend people use X39 before any of the other patches. For how long would you say? How long do you recommend, Dr. Barbara?
Up to 90 days.
Up to 90 days. I used it 90 days before any of the other patches. And I had an injury many years ago, several decades ago, and I was left with a deformed finger that was stuck like this. And someone on one of our calls said their crooked finger straightened out, and I went, oh my gosh. So, and I've heard lots of people that have arthritic fingers or deformed. Many people have, a pinky finger that's looking unique. And a lot of them change. So try it. Oh, she was born with it.
Okay, well, I would say try it for at least 90 days, probably longer. I think, if it doesn't affect that, you are going to get hundreds of other benefits from it. If you were born with it, I don't know. I don't have any experience with that kind of, with a congenital issue like that, but I would love to know. I would say keep me posted.
Why not try it? You can't lose.
Right. Right. Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose but your health to gain. And
right.
Michael's asking, beside inflammation, what are some of the other reasons that stem cell injections are not effective?
Well, there's a lot of different aspects of inflammation. I think anytime you're you're doing stem cell injections, or even if you've done like a long many-day water fast and you've made more stem cells, it's really important that you eat the right foods to support them. So anytime you kind of get a whole bunch quick, there are certain foods that will nourish them and support them and keep them going. If you there's a danger that they could just crash. That's kind of the word, crash and become ineffective. So they could just not thrive. And, you know, so there's inflammation from a bad diet. There's inflammation and other environmental issues like pH, you know, maybe a lot of sugar, you know, what are the causes of inflammation? The age of a person, the age of the stem cells that they're getting. The older a person is, the older their stem cells are, and older stem cells don't circulate as well. They don't travel as well. So
that's a really important point, because what I've heard about the X39 is it activates your own younger stem cells. And when I was doing my research, I'm going, I don't want to use my own stem cells. They're old. So I was going to get some young ones. Is the ones
right.
the one I had picked out. Yes. Yes.
So actually, what I understand is that it stimulates your skin to turn out, or even or to create these new pluripotent stem cells, and it's not releasing old ones. You know, if you're going to get an injection, you've got basically 3 choices from your own body. They can take your blood out and put it in fancy equipment and extract them from your blood and then put those back in, or they can take it from your bone marrow. That doesn't feel very good either.
That one hurts. I heard that one hurts a lot.
That one hurts the most. Or they can take it from your fat. And all of these require, you know, sophisticated equipment in order to extract them and put them back into an injectable form. And, you know, sometimes they work, you know, sometimes they don't. The numbers I've heard is that it's approximately 60% effective. And if you're going to spend $10,000, personally, I'd like more than a 60% assurance that it's going to work for me.
Yeah. Okay. So someone says, could this help with bulging veins?
It can, yes. In fact, I think that I've seen some really nice progress being made in bulging veins. Some of the reasons are because the copper peptide and the stem cell. So the patch in general is going to stimulate your body's production of more collagen and elastin. And collagen is very important to the integrity and the quality of your veins.
Wonderful. So let's finish up with a story from Mike Patton. He has a story. He says, I've been wearing X39 daily for about 8 months and have seen vast improvements in my health and well-being. Also sleep. I also sleep better. I have more energy. All these things Dr. Barbara talked about. Previous numbness is almost entirely gone. Well, that's exciting. As well as pain and numbness and range of motion all improved to nearly 100%. So it just keeps getting better. The longer you use the patches, the better it gets. And that's very, very exciting. And the younger we are, that's what we call our community Live Younger, because that's what we all get to do. So any other final comments, Dr. Barbara, before we close for the evening?
I love that little testimonial that Mike shared. And what hit me there as you were reading it, Robin, is that that's a pretty amazing testimonial. But guess what? I've heard that so many times from so many people. I mean, it's like, yep, check. Yep, I've heard it all before. And it's amazing for Mike and it's amazing for the other people. And it's not unusual. So that's pretty exciting.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Barbara, as always, and thank all of you that came this evening to watch and listen. And if you're new and you're just checking out LifeWave for the first time, the company is growing really, really fast. And it's very exciting. We have a wonderful customer program and it keeps getting better. And we also have a great member distributor program. If you're the kind of person that likes to share, there's a very lucrative compensation for you if you like to share and do what Barbara just says, get to hear miracle stories every day with stories like the one Mike shared. So I want to thank you all, and please get back to the person who invited you if you're new to the call. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you next week.